After that, Red escorted me home. He tried several times to convince me to go to the hospital, but I didn't listen. I only wanted to go home. So do you two know each other? When we arrived at my house, no one was there. With Red's blessing, I went straight to the bathroom and took a shower. The steam made my scrapes sting, but I didn't care. I wanted to be clean again. The warm water washed all the dirt and grime away. After I finished my shower, I put on some clean clothes and returned to the living room. There I found Red waiting with a first aid kit.
Sit right there, please. If nothing else, we need to treat your wounds.
Okay. I sat in the chair as instructed.
I've got some ice for your facial swelling. Hold it against your cheek for a while.
He handed me the makeshift ice pack. Then he opened the first aid kit and took out some disinfectant and gauze.
May I touch you?
Yes, you may. With my consent, he took my hand. Okay, well, he's a lot more hands-on this time. Good on you, boy.
Does it hurt?
No, I'm okay. He took my other hand and raised both my arms straight up into the air.
Does that hurt?
No. He slowly rotated my arms, occasionally pausing to ask me about any pain.
Looks like your arms only have minor scrapes.
Next he examined my legs, and so on and so forth. Now that I think about it, how did you find me anyway? He averted his gaze as he knelt before me.
I noticed you had dropped some of your belongings, and I had a bad feeling about it, so I followed the trail. Plus, I know the forest very well.
Oh, I see.
You dropped those things on purpose, didn't you?
Yeah.
This may be rude, considering what you've been through, but if you had that level of forethought, why go with them at all? You must have had some idea of what they were going to do to you, correct? All men are wolves, after all. You're extremely lucky that I showed up when I did.
I could tell from the tone of his voice that he was sincerely concerned for me. I know. I'm sorry. But despite my apology, I didn't actually regret going with them. Even if they'd assaulted me, I could have accepted it as long as it meant Gretel was unharmed. If there was even a 1% chance of healing him, I would take any risk, even if it put my life in jeopardy. That was just the kind of girl I was. I can actually relate to that. I think if I was in Yurika's position, I would do the same. I don't think I could live with myself knowing that there was a chance the person I loved needed my help, and I prioritized my own safety. Even though, like, in my head, I know that's a dumb thing to do, and I would have ended up in the same amount of trouble as her. In my heart, I'm like, gosh, to say no, knowing there's like a 1%, you know, if there's even like a 99% of the time, it's not that, but if there's that 1% chance, like, oof. So, yeah, I would be dumb like that too. But I should have taken steps to hedge my bets, as it were. After that incident, I now knew that I didn't stand a chance against multiple armed attackers. In exchange for that knowledge, I merely had to endure some pain and fear and shame. Thinking about it that way made it a little easier to bear.
Forgive my rudeness. Anyone would have been intimidated into cooperating. That was a thoughtless comment on my part.
No, you're right. I'm partly to blame for what happened. Sorry for scaring you. And thank you for saving me. I smiled weakly. Red looked up at me for a moment, then pulled his hood low over his eyes.
Anytime. Now, I'd like to take a look at your face, so could you close your eyes for me?
As requested, I closed my eyes. Then I heard Red heave a sigh of relief.
I'm going to touch you now.
Okay. He pulled the ice pack away from my face and gingerly touched my wound.
Does that hurt?
Feels like it's throbbing a little. Next he checked my lower eyelids, then my upper eyelids.
Fortunately, your eyes appear undamaged. Can you hear me clearly? Any ringing in your ears?
No, I can hear you.
Sounds like your eardrums are undamaged, too. For now, it appears your only external injuries are on your face, palms, and legs.
He grabbed the gauze and disinfectant off the table and set about patching me up.
Do you feel pain anywhere else?
No. Oh, but I got kicked in the stomach. When I stripped down for my shower, I had noticed a bright red bruise there. Want to see?
No, thank you. That won't be necessary.
Blushing beet red, he hastily declined. I burst out laughing. Being with Red helped me forget all about that miserable experience. He looked at me curiously. What?
Oh, it's just... You seem to be taking this all in stride.
In response, I spoke with a tone of forced cheer. Well, I can't change the fact that it happened. All I can do now is accept it, get over it, and start planning for the future. Besides, you scared them away before they could do anything really awful. Normally, this is the part where I'd wink playfully, but with my swollen cheek, I knew it wouldn't have the desired effect. Red looked at me intently for a moment, then dropped his gaze to the floor.
You're a very strong person. But I must ask you not to force yourself. You may be stronger than most people, but you're still a delicate flower.
That seems kind of contradictory. I snickered, but I knew he was only trying to be compassionate in his own way. Thank you, Red. After I expressed my gratitude yet again, he returned to his examination. As he applied the gauze to my cheek, I decided to ask him something that was on my mind. Come to think of it, do you know those boys?
They're a local delinquent gang. I've seen them hiding out in the forest, smoking cigarettes and drinking beer.
Oh, I see. Maybe that was their hangout spot. Red furrowed his brow at me.
You're not planning to go get your revenge on them, are you?
No, don't worry. I won't do anything dangerous. I denied it with a smile, but Red's serious expression didn't waver. I donned a serious expression of my own. Those guys seem to have a bone to pick with Gretel.
With Gretel, you say?
Have you heard anything?
I'm afraid not. But he's a smart young man, so I'm sure he knows better than to hang around with that crowd.
Yeah.
However...
Hmm?
It may be related to the violent incident he initiated recently.
I sank deep into thought. If these two things were connected, then perhaps Gretel's victim was a member of this delinquent gang. Yeah, I thought about that.
I wouldn't worry about it too much, Miss Arisu.
Who can I talk to learn more about these punks?
Miss Arisu!
He reprimanded me sharply.
You just went through a highly traumatic experience. Just relax, get some rest, and leave the rest to the police.
The police? The realization hit me. You have to file a report about this, don't you?
Of course I do. What they did was a crime, and they ought to be punished for it. But first, I'd like to get you to the hospital and...
Be honest, how bad is my face?
What?
Is it super obvious I got punched in the face?
Well...
He hesitated. When I saw my swollen face in the bathroom mirror, it made me want to cry. Honestly, I didn't even want Red to see me like this. But crying wouldn't fix anything. I couldn't change the past. I could only plan for the future. I grabbed Red's arm and begged him. If you see Gretel, please don't tell him what happened, okay? I don't want him to know.
Why not? You understand that Gretel may be linked to this incident, correct?
That's exactly why! Before I knew it, I was rambling. If he finds out they hurt me, there's no telling what he might do. Like you said, Gretel has a bit of a checkered past. And if he acts out again, he might not be able to redeem himself. He wants to go to the same college as me, and if he causes another incident, they might not accept him. So please, whatever you do, don't tell Gretel a single thing about what happened today. Eventually, Red gave in to my pleading.
All right then, I won't. But what do you plan to do about this?
For now, I'm going to keep my distance from Gretel until my injuries heal. After all, one look at me and he'll instantly know something bad happened.
Where will you go?
I started to say Ryoshi's house, then changed my mind. I'll get a hotel room or something. Lucky for me, we have a lot of those in this town. Then I'll have Mom and Dad tell Gretel that I left to stay with them in the city for a while.
Do you think he'll believe that?
It won't matter if he believes it. I'll already be gone. And if he calls my phone, he'll know that I'm okay. My question is, it's late. Where is he? Because he's not home. He wasn't at school. She didn't go pick him. Like, where did he go? It's weird. Like, where else does he have to go?
What about school?
I won't be able to attend class for a while, but it hardly matters at this stage. My main priority is keeping this hush-hush. Now that I was committed to a plan of action, I couldn't just sit around. I left Red in the living room and ran upstairs to my bedroom. I came straight home in order to avoid making a huge scene, but that was a mistake. The longer I stayed, the more likely I'd run into Gretel. I flung some clothes into my suitcase at random, then headed out of my room. Oops.
Sister, what's...
But when I opened the door, Gretel was waiting for me on the other side.
What happened to your face?
His expression was stiff. Oh, this? I tripped and fell. I purposely replied in a jokey, light-hearted tone.
Did someone hurt you?
Nope.
You're lying.
No, I'm not.
Sister!
He snapped sharply. It's nothing, okay? I put my arms around him to console him.
Sister...
There's nothing to worry about. But Gretel grabbed my shoulders and pushed me away. His eyes were narrowed piercingly. My body froze in fear. Gretel? Wordlessly, he grabbed me by the arm and dragged me back into my room. Gretel, wait! Ah! Then he pushed me down on the bed and started prodding at all the areas where Red had patched me up. My cheek, my arms, my palms, and lastly, my thighs. Every time he touched a sore spot, my body shivered. Gah!
I knew it. Someone attacked you. Your cheek is completely swollen. And your arms and legs are all scraped up. Plus, I can see finger-shaped bruises on your wrists and...
Ah! Without hesitation, Gretel hiked up my top. As I felt the air against my skin, goosebumps broke out all over my body.
These injuries are all proof that you were struck. Did they force themselves on you?
No.
Did they rape you?
No, I wasn't raped! I denied it at the top of my lungs. I wasn't. I'm fine.
Then what did they do to you? Why did they do this to my sister?
I brought it upon myself, that's all.
Brought it upon yourself? What's that supposed to mean? You would never make that kind of mistake. You're too smart for that.
I'm not as perfect as you think I am, Gretel.
Why won't you just tell me what happened? You told Red Riding Hood, right? Why is it you could tell him but not me?
It's not that.
Then what is it? Is it me? Is it my fault this happened to you? Is that why you won't—
No!
Then tell me! If you care about me as much as you claim to, then tell me what happened and who did this! Don't lie to me!
I knew I was trapped. Nevertheless, I lied without batting a lash. On my way home, a stranger tried to pull me into their car, but Red rescued me.
Is that true?
Yes.
Then why didn't you go straight to the police? Or the hospital?
I did. See? I'm all patched up. I gestured to the bandages Red had applied for me.
You're lying.
No, I
noticed there's less gauze and disinfectant in the first aid kit. Please don't lie to me.
He hung his head and started to tremble. Gretel. His tears fell onto my chest. Reflexively, I reached out to touch his cheek, but instead he kissed the back of my hand.
Sister. Sister, sister, sister! My poor, sweet sister. Look what they've done to you. I bet it was agony, wasn't it? Terrifying, wasn't it? I should have been there for you, but I wasn't. I'm so sorry. Sister!
He pulled me tight against his chest and began to sob. The back of my throat burned like it was on fire, as did the corners of my eyes. But I fought desperately to contain my tears. I couldn't let myself be weak in front of him. After a long embrace, Gretel slowly pulled back. His eyes were red and puffy.
Sister. Here. Eat this. Let's erase all those awful memories.
Has your candy been drugs this whole time? Gretel? The next thing I knew, Gretel was holding a jar in his hands.
Oh my god, seriously?
As the tears rolled down his face, he smiled and opened the lid. I slowly shook my head. I couldn't escape. I was still pinned down beneath him.
Don't worry. You're just going to sleep for a while, that's all.
With that, he popped a few star candies into his mouth and kissed me. No! It's not tea, but it's basically the same goddamn thing.
You gotta be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. I can't. Guys, I can't. I just... I'm losing my mind. Oh no. Well... okay. Continue.
I tried to pull away, but he wedged my lips open with his tongue and pushed the candy in.
I can't believe this.
Gretel. A long, long kiss followed, and by the time we finally came up for air, a string of saliva hung between our lips. Meanwhile, Red's just sitting down in the lobby like, she's been up there for a while. Hope she's okay. It shone seductively, provocatively, and despite the circumstances, it was enough to set my body aflame. 'Cause you're insane! Evidently, Gretel felt the same way, but somehow I could see darkness in those damp eyes and flushed cheeks.
Sister.
After that, he administered his medicine again and again.
Sister. I'm sorry. I know we shouldn't. That we're siblings. But today can be a special exception. You love special exceptions, don't you?
My mind started to go fuzzy as an intense wave of drowsiness washed over me.
Don't worry. Just give in to the sedative and tell yourself that it was all a bad dream. It was just a nightmare brought upon you by pesky demons. Once you wake up, we'll go back to our happy lives.
He gave me one last peck on the lips. Then the jar slipped out of his hands. Red, blue, green, yellow. A rainbow of colors scattered all over the bed and floor as if the room had transformed into Candyland. Gretel. He left me there and ran out of the house. I guess he had to go get things ready. I could barely think straight, but I chased after him nonetheless. At one point, I stuck a finger down my throat and tried to clear my stomach. Oh, good on you, girl. I tried again and again, but nothing came up. Tears flowed down my face and fell to the floor. I knew this would happen. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right, Eureka. I should have known this would happen. I should have known. I've done this. This has happened before. Granted, there was no tea involved, but it was basically the same thing. I knew it would happen, and yet somehow, for some reason, I'm still acting like I'm shocked. Why? I don't know. I guess it's been a while. And that was when my consciousness faded. Ryoshi, you have another new outfit. You're a doctor. I awoke in a hospital room. Is this a dream? Or is this real life? Do you mean that in more than one sense of the word? Because, oh man, it didn't even hit me to think that we may not be in fantasy land anymore. That would be interesting. He is wearing something different. I think he's a doctor, but...
Hey, Eureka! You alright?
What happened?
I heard there was an emergency, so I hurried home and found you passed out on the floor. Then I called an ambulance.
Who told you?
I got a call from the cops, actually. They said they received an anonymous tip that a group of local thugs jumped you.
Okay, so I'm not back in reality. This is after being drugged. Okay. I don't know why I never stopped to think when the huntsman came to our house and was like, I've confiscated his jar of candy. You need to manage his intake of this because having too much of it is not good. And why I did not immediately assume it was like some sort of medication. Medication or drugs, it didn't even occur to me. But now I'm like, well, I see the light. That anonymous tip probably came from Red. Such a good boy. He must have called it in after he left my house. Where's Gretel?
He wasn't there when I found you. I imagine he's probably out somewhere trying to exact vigilante justice. He gave you a mixture of sedatives and anti-anxiety pills. If he'd miscalculated the dose even slightly, he could have killed you. For the time being, stay here and get some rest. I'll find him.
Ryoshi, you haven't told?
The police. Not yet. Normally it'd make sense to get them involved, but not under these circumstances.
Thank you. Wordlessly, Ryoshi stroked my hair, then got up and left the room. Aw. Big bro! Battling with the pain and fatigue, I forced myself upright. I looked around for any helpful information, but all I could tell was that I had spent close to 24 hours here in this hospital room. I had only been treated for my external injuries, no stomach pump that I could see. Outside the window, the sun was starting to set. I needed to find Gretel before it got dark. That way we could go home together. Girl, priorities. Spurred forward by impulse, I jumped to my feet. I was really hoping you would have just, fallen on your face after doing that, but too much to hope for. Having managed to escape the hospital, I found myself wandering through the forest. Night had fallen and all was dark. A distinctly bad feeling descended over me. Oh, really? Hurry. Hurry. I have to find him. Before Ryoshi does. I knew Ryoshi was only worried for our safety, but if he got to Gretel before I did, he would lock him up again. And this time it might actually destroy him completely. Just then I caught a whiff of alcohol on the breeze. Alcohol? But it wasn't just alcohol. There was an indescribably horrid stench mixed in as well. I came to a stop and overheard some voices. Male voices, sniffling, and very familiar laughter.
I told you, I'm done hitting you. Did you know? The higher the alcohol content, the more flammable the liquid. Want to test it out? Ah!
I could see several figures deep in the woods. Then a tiny orange light flared up, illuminating the very person I had been searching for. At his feet lay a group of youths, all of them bleeding heavily. Damn, dude! What kind of strong boy are you?
Please, just stop. You've made your point. Never. You demon. You're the demons here. You tried to devour my sister. So, now it's time to take the trash to the incinerator. Burn in hell. Maggots!
Stop! Just in the nick of time, I managed to wrap my arms around him from behind.
Sister?
Upon closer inspection, I noticed Gretel was injured in a few areas too. Gretel, you're bleeding. At this, he donned a dashing smile and wiped his bloody cheek with his sleeves.
I wouldn't touch me if I were you. Who knows what manner of awful diseases you might catch from their filthy fluids. Don't worry. I'm going to incinerate all of this stinking trash right here and now.
With that, he moved to light his match. No! I snatched the matchstick from behind him. Snatch, match, snatch that match. I don't know why I had trouble saying that. It slipped out of his fingers and fell to the ground.
What are you doing? You made me waste it. Well, whatever. I have more where that came from.
He pulled out another match. Please, don't do this!
Don't do what? Don't get justice for you. You have nothing to worry about. I won't make you the villain, I promise.
I'm sorry, everyone. This is all my fault.
Why are you apologizing to these worms, sister? They're the ones who hurt you.
He kicked one of the delinquents lying at his feet. That's enough! I screamed at the top of my lungs. Enough already! Just stop! If you go any further, he'll die!
Excuse me? Who gives a shit if he dies? These vermin will never contribute to society. They have no concept of right and wrong. They simply act on their own desires. They're literally worthless.
Silently, I shook my head. Tears streamed uncontrollably down my face.
Why are you defending them? These creatures attacked you, remember? They very nearly raped you. They hurt your body and scarred your precious soul. That damage could have been permanent, you know.
But it wasn't. I'm fine now.
Well, I'm not fine! The thought of my sister's abusers living happily ever after makes me want to puke!
I'm begging you, please, just stop. I just want to go home with you. And if you cross that line,
Sister.
But right as he slumped his shoulders in defeat.
Gretel!
Suddenly, I felt the vibration of an impact against my arms as they clung to Gretel. I looked up to find that Ryoshi had seized Gretel by the collar, his eyes blazing.
The hell do you think you're doing?
Ryoshi! My beloved older brother had punched Gretel.
And what the hell are you doing here? I told you to get some rest, damn you!
I had never seen Ryoshi this emotional in all my life. I shrank back.
If you're going to yell at someone, yell at me. She braved these woods in order to find me.
Gretel.
Damn it, Gretel! Do you realize what you were about to do? You were about to commit murder! Yes, I know. What of it? I beg your pardon?
His matter-of-fact demeanor sent a chill down my spine. Likewise, Ryoshi seemed to be at a loss for words. Then, after a moment, he turned and approached the thugs on the ground.
Screw it. The lecture will have to wait. Hey, you kids okay? Stay with me. Help me. I'm gonna call an ambulance for you. Seems like you're all still breathing.
The delinquents had been rendered immobile, so Ryoshi tended to them as he prepared to call the hospital.
What are you doing? You don't have to trouble yourself with these worms. Just let nature sort itself out. Not on your life! Yes, hello. I need an ambulance right away. Right, our current location. They tried to rape your little sister! That doesn't mean they deserve to die. Maybe you don't care if they die, but these kids have families. Family. So I'm worth even less than these maggots, is that it?
Gretel!
I mean, that's what it sounds like. After all, I don't have a family. I didn't need to be clued in, either. I always knew we weren't related. Unlike you people, I'm not smart or talented. I'm just a worthless piece of trash. That's why I put so much effort into everything I did. Schoolwork, sports. I did everything I could to win approval from people as naturally perfect as you. Gretel. Shut up, shut up, shut up! I knew. I could just tell. Unlike you people, I wasn't skilled or gifted. Be it schoolwork or sports, I quietly put my nose to the grindstone until I got to where I am today. I just wanted to catch up to my sister, to stay connected with her. And so I crafted the perfect little brother. So why? Why are you people trying to destroy that? Sister. 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 You're the one person I can't afford to lose. Please don't abandon me.
As he stood there, crying and covered in blood, I pitied him more than anyone else here. My actions had hurt him, and now they had caused him to hurt others. I could only think of one way to keep him from hurting even more. So I reached out and kissed him on the cheek.
Sister?
Then I gently took him by the hand and took off running. So it's all your fault again, Eureka.
Hey! Eureka! Gretel!
I could hear Ryoshi calling after us, but I didn't look back. I didn't need any guidepost to find my way home. Because to me, that wasn't my home anymore.